Hey, just wanted to pop on here and do a little quick review in case any of you are struggling with your prerequisite knowledge for Chapter 5. We're going to be reviewing adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials, something that you should have learned in Algebra 1. So adding polynomials, you'll notice that we have two parentheses located with an addition symbol in the middle. The parentheses are really not needed because if you distribute a positive 1 to everything in the second set, it's not going to change anything. So I'm just going to rewrite this without the parentheses. And then all you have to do is collect your like terms. Combine like terms. Remember that like terms have the same variable raised to the same power. So for example, 3x squared plus 8x squared will get me 11x squared. Keep that like term the same. Do not make it x to the fourth. Then we'll go to our next term, which we have just x in common. Always underline or circle the number in front, the symbol in front of the number. So negative 4x minus x would be a minus 5x. And then lastly, we have a negative 1 plus 6. So 6 minus 1 will be plus 5. And that's our answer. Okay, I'm going to skip over to number 6, which is on subtracting polynomials. So the only thing that's different about adding versus subtracting is that you do have to distribute your negative 1. Oops. Or distribute your negative sign to everything inside this second set of parentheses. You do want to do that first. So everything on the front set just comes down, stays exactly the same. But this will become a minus x squared. Minus a negative becomes plus 3x. And minus 4. Literally just switch the symbol around. And then we'll collect our like terms. So 3x squared minus, technically 1x squared will be 2x squared. Plus 2x plus 3x is plus 5x. And plus 1 minus 4 would be minus 3. Okay, next let's look at some multiplication and combined with addition and subtraction. Okay, so for these ones, the first thing that we're going to want to do is use the distributive property. And then we will combine like terms. So we put CLT, combine like terms. All right, so we need to distribute the 4 to each term in that set of parentheses, so we will get 4a plus 20. Now in the second set of parentheses, I need to distribute a negative 5. So you're going to distribute the negative and the 5 to each term, which will get us a minus 5a squared. Minus 5 times a negative 4, or negative 4 times a negative 5 will make us a positive 20a. And negative 5 times a positive 7 will get us a minus 35. And then it is normal to put this in what's called standard form, which we'll talk about a little bit more tomorrow, which is in descending exponent order. So you would want the biggest exponent first. And there's no like terms to combine, so I'm just going to bring that down in the front. Then we'll collect our next like terms, which are 4a and 20a, which will get me plus 24a. And last but not least, we have our regular numbers or constants. So 20 minus 35 will be minus 15. Okay, next up we have multiplying. So we'll skip over to number 16. You'll remember a little acronym that helps you to multiply, and that's called FOIL. If you recall, FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. So it's just a way for you to multiply all of your terms together. So multiply our first term times our first term. x times x gets me x squared. Multiply my outside terms. It's literally just distributing a bunch of times. So we'll have x times a negative 12 is a minus 12x. Then we'll go to our inner terms. 3 times x is positive 3x. And 3 times a negative 12 will get us a negative 36. So you're going to FOIL first, which is just distributing. Then we're going to collect our like terms in the middle. Negative 12 plus 3 would be a minus 9x minus 36. Okay, skip over to section 2, number 23, multiplying using the FOIL process with perfect squares. So you have to remember, when you see something squared, that means that it's being multiplied by itself. So what you're going to have to do first is expand this. Make it x minus 3 times x minus 3. We cannot just distribute the exponent because this is what's called a binomial. So first you're going to expand it to be x minus 3, x minus 3. Then we're going to FOIL it, just like we did in the last example. First times first, x times x is x squared. Outer, minus 3x. Inner, minus 3x. And last, negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. Then collect your like terms in the middle. So we should get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, and we have 2 more sets to look at. We have FOILing with multiple variables, and we also have our area. So in number 28, we're still going to FOIL. The only difference is that we have multiple variables to investigate. So start with your outer terms. 2x times x will get me 2x squared. Multiply your outer terms. 2x times y. So that will literally just be 2xy or 2yx. The order doesn't matter. I just usually do alphabetical. Then go to our inner terms. 7y times x. Again, you could put 7yx, but I always will put 7xy. That way I notice that these are like terms. You can rearrange it using the commutative property so that you can make sure that they are like terms. And then we'll multiply last times last, which will get me 7y squared. And then the like terms should be in the middle. Again, it doesn't matter if you write this 7yx or 7xy, they'll still be like terms. So we'll combine those things together to get 2x squared plus 9xy plus 7y squared. Usually when there's multiple variables, you will leave a squared at the beginning and at the end because of how we would want to factor that. Okay, so same process, just with multiple variables. And then our last section asks us to look at the rectangle, and they want us to, part A, write an expression for the area, which if you remember, area for a rectangle is length times width. And then part B says to represent the area as a polynomial. So basically what they want you to do then is to FOIL and simplify. So for number 33, we can see that our length is 2x minus 1, and our width is 3x plus 2. So for part A, we'll just have area equals length times width. You do want to make sure that you use parentheses around our binomials. Okay, so that's your answer for part A. Just 2x minus 1 times 3x plus 2. And then for part B, all we're going to do is actually FOIL that. So our first times our first, 2x times 3x gets me 6x squared. 2x times 2 will be plus 4x minus 3x minus 2. And then collect your like terms in the middle, and we will get 6x squared plus x minus 2. Technically, units squared. They didn't tell us if it's inches or centimeters, but area is always square units. Okay, that is your quick review. You should be able to complete the rest of the assignment now.